Most men think attraction is loud, but the truth is, the one gesture that melts a woman's heart is so quiet that almost nobody notices it. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you isn't something men usually learn growing up. Movies tell you to impress her. Social media tells you to chase her. Friends tell you to show off your success. But women don't emotionally connect to noise. They connect to presence, and presence is rare. Imagine a woman talking to a man. She's explaining something small, maybe about her day, something that happened at work, or a random thought that crossed her mind. Most men nod while secretly checking their phone. Some interrupt. Others try to fix the problem immediately. But the man who melts her heart does something different. He listens fully, not the polite kind of listening where you're just waiting for your turn to speak. I'm talking about the kind of listening that makes someone feel like, for that moment, they are the only person in the world. When a man locks his attention onto a woman, calm eyes, relaxed body language, no distractions, something powerful happens in her mind. She feels safe. She feels seen. And more importantly, she feels respected. You see, women spend most of their lives being talked over, misunderstood, or dismissed. Even the most confident woman carries the quiet memory of moments when her voice didn't matter to someone. So, when a man actually gives her his full attention, it feels rare, almost shocking. That's the gesture. Not money, not flashy confidence, not clever lines. Attention. Real attention is masculine in a way most men misunderstand. It shows emotional strength, it shows control over your impulses, and it shows that you're secure enough not to compete for the spotlight in every moment. A man who can hold silence while a woman speaks is a man who isn't desperate for validation, and women can feel that instantly. When you truly listen, you start noticing details other men miss, the change in her tone when something matters to her, the way her eyes brighten when she talks about something she loves, the tiny pause when she's unsure whether you're really paying attention. And when she realizes that you are her guard lowers, she begins sharing more. Not because you asked the perfect question, but because your presence quietly invited it. That's the part most men don't understand. Attraction isn't always created by doing more. Sometimes it's created by doing less, but doing it with intention. Think about the last time someone genuinely listened to you without interrupting, judging, or rushing you. Remember how rare that felt? That's exactly what women feel when a man gives them that same experience. And here's the twist most men never see coming. When you listen deeply, you don't lose attraction, you multiply it, because attention signals something powerful about a man's character. It tells her that you're not insecure, not frantic, and not trying to prove yourself every second. You're grounded, and grounded men are magnetic. Women might laugh with loud men, flirt with charming men, and be curious about confident men, but they emotionally attach to the man who makes them feel understood. And the doorway to that feeling is one simple power. And like she matters. Now here's where things become interesting. Because most men hear the word listen and assume it's something simple. Just stay quiet, nod a little, maybe say yeah a few times. But women can instantly feel the difference between passive listening and intentional presence. Passive listening is empty. Intentional presence is powerful. A woman can sense when a man's mind is somewhere else, when he's thinking about what he'll say next, when he's pretending to care but secretly waiting for the conversation to end. That energy leaks out through tiny signals, restless eyes, impatient body language, short responses. And the moment she senses that, the emotional door closes. But when a man is truly present, his energy becomes calm and steady. He isn't rushing the moment. He isn't competing for attention. He's simply there. And that kind of presence does something extraordinary to a woman's nervous system. It relaxes her. You see, women spend most of their lives navigating social tension, reading emotions, managing expectations, protecting themselves from judgment or rejection. So when a man creates a space where she doesn't have to perform, she feels relief. And relief quickly turns into comfort. Comfort turns into trust. And trust is where real attraction begins to grow. This is why the man who listens deeply often ends up becoming the one she feels closest to. Not because he tried to impress her, but because he allowed her to be fully herself. Most men are trying to win a woman's attention, but the man who understands female psychology creates an environment where she wants to give it freely. And the secret lies in a small shift in mindset. Stop trying to be interesting. Start being interested. When she talks about something that matters to her, don't rush past it. Explore it. Ask her what she enjoyed about it. Ask how it made her feel. Let her story breathe instead of cutting it short. Women notice this immediately because so few men actually do it. Think about how conversations usually go. Someone mentions something meaningful, and the other person quickly shifts the topic back to themselves. But when you stay with her story, you send a different message. You're telling her that her thoughts matter, that her experiences are worth hearing, that her voice deserves space. And this is where attraction becomes emotional rather than superficial. Because when a woman feels emotionally heard, something inside her softens. She begins associating you with safety. Not boring safety, but grounded safety. The kind that feels stable, mature, and rare. Most men are trying to create excitement by being unpredictable or loud, but the deeper form of attraction comes from emotional security. A woman may enjoy thrills for a moment, but she opens her heart to the man who feels solid. And deep listening is one of the clearest signals of that strength. It shows patience, it shows discipline, and most importantly, it shows that you're not desperate for attention. Desperation repels women, but calm presence draws them in. So the next time you're with a woman, resist the urge to dominate the conversation. Resist the urge to prove how funny, smart, or impressive you are. Instead, slow down. Look at her when she speaks. Let her finish her thoughts without interruption, and watch how quickly the emotional atmosphere begins to change. Because when a woman realizes she's talking to a man who actually hears her, she starts feeling something many women rarely experience: peace. And peace in the presence of a confident man is incredibly attractive. But here is the deeper layer most men never realize. Listening is not just about hearing her words. It's about understanding what she feels beneath those words. Women often communicate emotionally rather than logically. That means what she says on the surface isn't always the full message she's expressing. For example, she might talk about a frustrating day at work. Many men immediately switch into problem-solving mode. They offer advice, solutions, strategies, but that's usually not what she's looking for. What she actually wants is emotional recognition. She wants the man in front of her to understand how that experience felt. The stress, the annoyance, the disappointment, the small details that made it matter to her. When a man responds to those emotions instead of just the situation, she feels understood at a deeper level. Imagine she says, "Today at work was exhausting. My boss kept changing everything." Most men say something like, "You should just tell your boss to make decisions earlier." Logical, efficient, completely missing the emotional layer. But a man who understands women might respond differently. He might say, "That sounds really frustrating. It's hard when you put effort into something and someone keeps moving the goalposts." That one sentence shows empathy. And empathy, when it comes from a confident man, is incredibly attractive, because it proves he isn't emotionally blind. Women are constantly scanning for emotional awareness in men, not because they want someone overly sensitive, but because emotional awareness signals maturity. A man who understands emotions is far less likely to react with anger, insecurity, or ego. He's stable, and stability creates trust. This is why many women feel strangely drawn to the man who simply gets them. Even if he isn't the loudest, richest, or most traditionally impressive guy in the room, he sees what others miss. And that feeling is intoxicating. Think about it from her perspective. If most men ignore emotional cues, the man who notices them suddenly stands out like a lighthouse in the dark. His attention feels rare. His presence feels intentional, and his responses feel genuine. That combination quietly builds emotional intimacy, not the forced kind you see in movies, the real kind that develops through consistent understanding. And here's something important many men misunderstand. Listening doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful. Because when you listen deeply, you learn things about a woman that other men never discover. You understand what motivates her, what excites her, what worries her. That knowledge allows you to connect with her in ways that feel natural instead of forced. You're not guessing what she wants. You're observing it. This is why the quiet gesture of deep listening often leads to the strongest emotional attraction. It bypasses surface level games and connects directly to how she feels inside. And once a woman feels emotionally understood by a man, something extraordinary happens. She begins investing in him. Her attention increases, her curiosity grows, and she starts opening doors into parts of her personality that most people never see. Not because he demanded it, but because he created a space where she felt safe enough to reveal it. That is the hidden power behind the gesture most men ignore. Now, let me reveal something even more surprising. The gesture that melts a woman's heart is not just about listening. It's about the silence that comes with it. Most men are afraid of silence. They rush to fill it with jokes, stories, or explanations because silence makes them uncomfortable. They assume if they stop talking, the moment will become awkward. But silence, when handled with confidence, becomes magnetic. When a woman finishes speaking and a man takes a calm moment before responding, something subtle happens in her mind. That pause signals thoughtfulness. It tells her he's actually processing what she said instead of reacting automatically. And thoughtful men stand out immediately. Think about how rare it is to meet someone who isn't rushing, someone who doesn't interrupt, someone who allows space in the conversation. That space feels peaceful, and peace in today's noisy world is incredibly attractive. Silence also creates emotional tension in a positive way. When you're comfortable with quiet moments, the conversation gains depth. Your words carry more weight because you aren't throwing them around carelessly. Women notice this quickly. They start leaning in a little closer, paying more attention to what you say, feeling the rhythm of the interaction instead of racing through it. In many ways, silence is a form of confidence. It shows that you're not afraid of the moment. You're not scrambling for approval. You're simply present. And presence is powerful. A man who can sit comfortably in silence communicates something very important without saying a single word. He communicates control. Control over his emotions, control over his reactions, control over the energy in the room. That kind of calm authority triggers a deep psychological response in women because calm men feel strong, not aggressive strong, but grounded strong. There's a quiet masculinity in a man who doesn't need to dominate every moment. He lets things unfold naturally. And when a woman senses that calm strength, she often begins revealing more about herself. Silence invites honesty. In the absence of noise, people feel more comfortable sharing what they truly think. So the man who respects silence often hears deeper stories, more personal truths, more meaningful thoughts, and those moments create emotional bonds that loud conversations never achieve. Another powerful part of silence is eye contact. When a woman is speaking and a man maintains relaxed, steady eye contact, it signals full engagement, not intense or intimidating, just attentive and calm. It tells her she has his focus. And in a world full of distractions, focus feels intimate. This is why that simple gesture, listening with calm attention and allowing silence, melts a woman's emotional defenses faster than clever lines or flashy behavior. Because it communicates three rare qualities at once: respect, patience, strength. And when those three qualities exist together, attraction begins growing naturally, not forced, not manipulated, but genuine. By now, you might be realizing something important. The gesture that melts a woman's heart isn't complicated at all. In fact, it's almost invisible to most people. But its impact is enormous, because when a woman feels truly heard, she experiences something that many relationships lack: emotional safety. And emotional safety allows attraction to deepen. Think about the men most women remember long after the conversation ends. It's rarely the loudest man in the room. It's rarely the one trying the hardest to impress her. It's the man who made her feel comfortable being herself. The one who listened without judgment. The one who didn't rush her thoughts or compete for attention. That man becomes unforgettable because he offered something rare: presence. And presence is a form of respect that many people never receive. When you truly listen, you're telling a woman that her experiences matter, that her thoughts deserve time, that she doesn't have to fight for space in the conversation. That feeling quietly melts emotional walls. And once those walls soften, attraction grows in a natural way that doesn't require games or manipulation. Women don't fall for tricks. They fall for how a man makes them feel over time. A man who consistently listens, understands, and responds with calm presence creates a powerful emotional experience. And that experience becomes addictive because it's rare in a world full of noise, distractions, and people talking over each other. The man who listens becomes extraordinary, not because he's doing something dramatic, but because he's doing something authentic. And authenticity is magnetic. So the next time you're with a woman, remember this simple truth. You don't need to dominate the conversation to be attractive. You don't need perfect words or rehearsed lines. Sometimes the most powerful gesture a man can make is simply giving someone the gift of his full attention, listening without rushing, understanding without judging, being present without trying to prove anything. That quiet strength is what many women secretly hope to find, and almost no one offers it. Before you go, I want to ask you something personal. Have you ever met someone who listened to you so deeply that you felt completely understood? Or are you usually the one doing the listening for others? Tell me your answer in the comments. And if this message opened your eyes even a little, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this truth.